Today on Gamer's Couch. I'm willing to have the whole intro couch thing with that audio. I'm not sure if I'm gonna cut it and have you fuchteling around on the screen. It's always a surprise every Saturday, for us Saturday, because I need some time to, work on this podcast. Every Saturday is a surprise for me to see what you come up with when starting the video. This was awesome. Were you a swimmer in your early life? Because you have quite the lung volume there. I'm impressed.
Actually, I did, but that hasn't to do anything with that. It's just talking a lot and being loud.
Welcome to Gamer's Couch. My name is Sarah. I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and this impressive creature here is my sweet husband Daniel.
And I'm done. I did enough for this video, so Sarah will talk you through it.
No, it's a conversation. Look into the description box. It's a video podcast where we have a conversation about our board game collection, which we share one particular piece with today, with you guys, and it's Doom, the board game that we're going to play. If you're new to the channel or haven't watched this show before, let me give you a few information before we start. We have three major sections, which is rules and gameplay, where we talk about, or mainly him talks about, how this game that we're having on the couch is played, and we play a couple of turns and show you how it's done. Then we have the second section, likes and dislikes, where the two of us talk about what we liked or not liked about this game. We don't talk about that before, so this is unscripted, and we're actually kind of curious of what the other person thinks. We give it a rating, a thumbs rating. And then we hop into the last section, funny stories and experiences, where we share exactly that. I have to remember all the things that happen at the table while we play, and then I have to dump that knowledge here to share with you. And there was a Fluse, second German lesson. So
no, nobody will know what a Fluse is.
It's a what's the English word? What is it?
It's not dust, but it's close, so
I'm gonna have it somewhere on this.
Lint?
Oh yeah, lint.
Is it lint?
Lint is fussel. Yeah, right. So, which is
different from Fluse,
synonym
but
for Fluse.
Works.
So, another thing that we're gonna have in this particular video again is at the very end a teaser for Draw for Initiative, what game Tina and I are going to paint next week. So it's going to be a funny and hopefully very informative podcast video. So let's start, my dear. Do the doom of the rules and the gameplay, please.
Hot on the heels of another important event that has to do with blood loss would be Valentine's Day. In this case, I have prepared. I realize that this is a little bit late, probably when this releases 5 days late, but we played this over Valentine's Day, and if you're together long enough as we are, this game pretty much encapsulates the feeling you get from a long-standing relationship, same as the title. So in this case, let's get started and say, arteries are red, veins are blue, death comes to you, something like that.
I don't know what your reference is.
Is that a Valentine's thing? You make a rhyme and put it on a card and then send it to someone and wish him death and blood and gore and...
But only after a wonderful, loving and fulfilling relationship. Yeah. Well, I killed you earlier.
At least
on the board. On the board.
Up to the first telephone.
He's not a hologram. I promise. He's not a robot. I didn't kill him in real life.
You don't know if I'm a robot. Anyway, let's get started. So... Doom is a tactical board game where you will be controlling little dudes that shoot at each other imaginary weapons and will try to kill each other. This game doesn't have so much as a campaign, so I'm already starting out by comparing this to other titles, but it is obvious. This is a Fantasy Flight game, and you can directly trace the lineage up to this from Imperial Assault, Descent, and other games that are like that.
Mansions of Madness.
However, I wouldn't necessarily. At least this doesn't. It has the same mechanics as a dungeon crawler, but as I said, it lacks the campaign aspect of that. So this is more of similar to the skirmish variant that comes with Imperial Assault, where you just, you have a mission and you try to complete the objective for that mission, but there's no storyline branching and so going on. So if you never played a game like this, one guy has to be the bad guy, and in this case, that is me, who is controlling the demons. And if you have not heard about the universe of Doom, sorry
about that.
Congratulations for kind of missing the past 20 years. I think Doom is older than that. It's probably 25, 30 years. 25, sounds about right. Anyway.
You were young when you played it. Or heard about it.
I was actually, when the first Doom came out, even then I was probably too young to play it. I played Doom 2 when it came out, and that was the hot shit back when I was a kid. And I kind of coaxed my parents into buying this, and ignore that horned demon on the box cover.
Dad, you can play with me. It's fine.
Yeah, so in Doom, Doom is, in this case, takes place on Mars. Doom 2 takes place on Earth, but we're not talking about the video game. So this is still on Mars. You are in one of the new Argent mining facilities, because humanity thought, with all the energy crisis, what best way to do than to get energy from another dimension, or in this case, hell itself, because it's
warm there.
It totally makes sense. They got a lot of heat, and this is almost
roast the chicken every night.
It's almost going to your close-up factory and say, hey, that heat that you don't use, can we just get some of it and use that to make hell marshmallows or something like that? So
marshmallows or the new recipe for Valentine's Day. To cut a very
thin but long story short, you have the minions of hell, some demons who, usually want to kill everybody, and that is almost always the job of the guy who's playing the invader. In this case, the demons. Although I actually take offense with calling him an invader, because he's kind of defending his resources. So the bad guys are the humans in this case.
Yeah, but the demons are coming into the facility, so they are invading the facility. I guess that's.
On the other side of the equation, we have the Spice Marines, which are actually not Warhammer related in this case, but are just Marines, or the Doom Marines, as they're called from the game. Notoriously hard to kill, fast on their feet, and kind of really good at running over weapons, picking them up and shooting them at the same time. So we have up to 4 Marines here facing an invader and, doing a shootout. The job for the Marines is different from mission to mission, and it very roughly orients itself with some of the multiplayer versions of Doom, specifically since this is based or more adjacent to the new version of the video game that came out. It's sometimes it's very simple, kill everything. Sometimes you have to capture points. Sometimes you have to grab something and escort it outside, and so on. What we set up here is the tutorial mission, which is, I think you just have to kill everything and then you're good from either side. Was that something? I set it up. I didn't read what I have to do. I'm so sorry, honey. We're really professional. Anyway, we won't be playing the full tutorial here.
I'm going to kill him quick.
In any regard. Also, I think I will not go into too much detail what the cards do. but be aware that the way we play this here is actually not according to the rules correctly, because this is a little variant that
we can talk about in the later sections, maybe?
Yes, if you can count with us, it's 1-2 players, although you will see 4 Marines on the board, which
I'm a rainbow colored.
we'll get to in the likes and dislikes and gameplay experiences stuff while we are doing this.
A lot.
Suffice to say, as with almost every Fantasy Flight game, you want to probably have all the guys on the board and not just do one of the 1, 2, or 3 player variants. So Sarah is actually controlling all the 4 Marines that are on here, and I have to say they don't come pre-painted like this. Actually, these are not properly painted.
These are just the base code.
These are just based, and I did that so for
camera,
for our and for your benefit to be have a little simpler time identifying where everybody is. The bad guys are still unpainted, so
but they're different enough so we can actually distinguish between the two of them, not just which one is it. So
the game takes it's going on in rounds, and each round has effectively 2 phases. The first being the status phase, and one thing we do here is to set up initiative. There is no fixed order of initiative, which is the first kind of deviation from the typical other games that Fantasy Flight put out, but instead you have these cards, one for each Marine, and I'll put in 1 invader card for each of my bad guys on the board. If you see this, I have 2 different types of bad guys here, the imps and the possessed soldiers, so I will put 2 cards into the pool, then shuffle these up real good, and then probably will still be the last to move, as this is always the case in these kinds of games. Okay, now before we reveal who is starting, I get to draw my hand. Actually, you would do that at the beginning of the game, but this also happens in the status phase. So I get to draw 6 cards.
I get to draw 4 cards
from my deck. Sarah, usually Marines draw 1 card, but since Sarah is playing all of them, she will be drawing 4 cards, and she will be controlling all 4 soldiers with the same deck. This is not an official version; it's a variant. Again, we'll get to that.
We'll in depth. Just bear with us.
But the base concept is the same. The bad guy draws in the status phase, and the good guys draw usually at the end of their turn up to their hand size. So if you're playing with 5 players, which is the maximum, a player would do his turn, use his cards, and then draw up to 3 cards, which is the proper hand maximum for that. For me, I have these 6 cards, and these are effectively just some kind of event cards that I can play to affect or change some stuff during the game. Without going into too much depth, just to give you an idea, some of them are like I can play this, and then the range of the Marines' attack is reduced, or I can play this to reroll an attack, and so on. I have another option, and I'll be doing this right now. I can discard cards that I don't think are very useful. In this case, I can in general discard up to 3 cards, so I'll do that. I'll discard 3 cards and get Argent tokens for that. That's the hell energy that the humans try to get. We can also use that to make our demons a little bit stronger. Each demon I control has one of these status cards that gives me an idea how they move, how they attack, and they have some special abilities that I can trigger with these Argent tokens. Now, it's not all super easy because I have to commit to my demons. So if I get these tokens, I have to place them on the face-up demons I have here. So let's say I wanna use my imps. Maybe I want to use their special ability 2 times. So I'm putting 2 tokens here, 1 token here, or I can put it down here. Then that might be a little bit easier to see on camera. Mm-hmm. Or I could put these Argent tokens onto my summon card, which is typically secret, so the Marines don't know what types of demons I can summon up. And you see that I have 2 cards face down here, so there's 2 more different types of demons that I can summon. if I put tokens on this card, I have to spend them by putting them on a group when I summon them, and we'll get to that. But effectively, if you don't use your tokens and everybody from the group gets killed, you lose all the tokens. I have to flip the card over. So this is already the first kind of decision you're going to make, especially as the invader. Once that is done, we get started, and I'll reveal the first. It is the Marines. Now, typically it would now be the blue Marine to move, and I think we'll stick with that now.
But I made the tokens.
Since we're not playing by the rules anyway.
Yeah, you have the Argon tokens. You don't have them in the tutorial either.
And
we just set up the tutorial mission, but we changed these
it would be Blue's job. However,
I want to have red.
In this two-player variant, is effectively Sarah can decide which Marine she wants to activate as long as she doesn't activate one more than once. You have probably already decided which one to take, so...
I'm going to take red.
Okay.
Red has your attack ignores cover.
Hang on. Let me then explain quickly. So there are class cards that are handed out to the Marines beforehand, and either you use one of the groups that are provided with the game. So there's fire teams here.
Can you take that camera, because I'm having.
There's fire teams here that come with a standard loadout and all that jazz. That provide you with an assortment of weapons and an assortment of class cards. Or you can draft them, which would mean each player or each Marine gets 2 class cards, and you pick the one you like most. These give either passive or active abilities to the Marines, which can, well, kind of change their entire play style. Some get a bonus at range, some get a bonus at close combat, some get the option to move, and so on. Whereas for the weapons, Sarah...
can you see them?
Sarah picked three of the available weapons in this variant. Usually a Marine picks 2 weapons and then takes the corresponding weapon cards. So there's a whole bunch of cards here, and each card has a little icon on the bottom, which you probably can see due to the glare. But the way this works is that each Marine builds his deck based on the weapon cards he has, plus some generic cards. So you, as a Marine, kind of have to decide at the beginning, before setting up, which Marines you want to go in with, which weapons you want to go in with, and you have to pick 2 different weapons, of course.
And you would always start with 10 cards that way.
Yes.
So it's not a huge deck.
However, in this variant, since Sarah is controlling all 3 Marines at the same time
the dudes.
With the same deck, we're playing with 3 types of weapons.
Yeah. So I'm playing with Alpha. Alpha has your attacks ignore cover. While attacking a figure that is not within 3 spaces, you may exhaust this card to reroll any number of dice. And the first thing I want to play is 3-round shot, which is a main action. It has this pointy arrow, gives me 3 speed, and it's pooling up like it is in Imperial, and I have 3 red dice on a range of 6, and I can get that sucker here, for example, which I want to do.
Okay, before you roll...
Yes, I'm just getting the dice Marines, accustomed to me.
As I said, see, the cards that Sarah has on hand is effectively determining what she can do this turn. In this case, in general, you're only allowed to play 1 main action and as many bonus actions as you want or have on hand.
I'm going to play some later so we can talk about the bonus actions in a minute.
As Sarah said, this is a main action. These cards always have the similar or same setup. They have some fluff text on them. Sometimes they have some rule text as well. This as a main action gives her 3 speed, and you can... Movement here works similar to how it works with Imperial or Descent. You can consider speed or movement as a pool. So she plays that card and gets 3 points to her movement pool. She can use that pool between actions how she wants. So she can move forward 1 step, shoot, and move back 2 steps. Or she can move 3 and then shoot, or first shoot and then move. That's entirely up to her. And if she plays other cards that also add to the movement pool, She just has more stuff to move. However, you still have to work the cards as you play them. So meaning if she plays 3-round burst, she can now either move the 3 points and then shoot, but if she has another card that gives her movement points, she cannot play that, then move, let's say, 6 spaces and then shoot, unless she plays that card first, if that makes any sense.
I'm gonna do something like that in a minute.
The second thing that's on the card is an attack. So as we already said, these cards represent weapons, and they capture the different styles of weapons that the video game has. In this case, we have the burst rifle that does the 3-round burst, meaning she gets 3 red dice. That's what this little grid here has. There's only 2 different types of dice, red and black ones. Blacks just have more hits on them, whereas reds have even blank spaces. And the range is how far the target may be away to shoot at them.
Can you do the line of sight quickly before I roll?
So line of sight is usually, and this is, you might know this from Imperial Assault, you pick one of the corners of your mini and try to draw a line to any of the 4 corners of the mini you want to hit. This guy is in direct line of sight, this guy is in direct line of sight, even this guy here would be in direct line of sight, even though there's a monster in between. However, this guy back here wouldn't be in line of sight because there's a wall here that blocks the thing. There's another...
and there's a wall here too.
Is that?
Yeah, we have a glare from filming.
I didn't.
But I don't see him.
Well, you see him from this corner. You can move over to here. You just don't...
he's covered.
So let's do this fancy schmancy thing. So there's a line going from there to there, and being able to see that. I hope you have you can be seeing that on camera. Now the other thing is cover, and we come to that when I talk about how my guys will be defending.
But I want to defend him. He's not in cover. What did I say?
Defend.
Yeah, of course. That's propaganda. So I'm having
five damage. Okay.
That's rare for me.
Now, the combat is really streamlined here. So it's not me rolling against Sarah. It is effectively only me drawing the top card of my deck. And then that card will tell me how I defend against this. For that, I ignore everything that's on the card. The only important thing is the icons up here on the top right. In this case, a single shield, which negates one of Sarah's 5 points. However, since the imp only has 3 points of health, that would immediately kill him and remove him from the board.
Bye-bye.
There's the other thing I wanted to explain is if Sarah would have tried to shoot at someone, let's move him back here. Now, if Sarah tried to shoot to someone, she doesn't have full line of sight. So let's say she wants to shoot at the guy back here. So she can see him, but to determine if he has cover, you check from that point that you see him from if you can see all the 4 corners, and if none are obstructed either by a wall or an enemy figure or a red line like this, which also obstructs line of sight, then that means that Mini is in cover. If you are in cover and you don't like the first card you draw, you may draw another card, but then you have to stick with that card and kind of live with it.
Yeah. Second thing, now I'm playing the bonus actions. They have the round arrow here, and from those type of cards I can play as many as I have on hand. Yes. Which is nice.
And she still has the 3 movement points from her first main action. That is actually a good thing to do. Keep the cards you play visible so you can always count up, because in the heat of the moment, it happens that's like, oh, how much did I move already? How many movement points do I have in total? And for that, it's beneficial to play these cards.
Yeah, it is. I want to target him. I have 4 range, so I'm getting him.
Yes. However, Sarah now does not have full visibility, so she can see him from here to there, but she cannot see all the 4 points of this guy. So
you're covered. Yeah, but still, I'm just gonna shoot you in the blunderfuts. 2 damage.
So I reveal my card, and this is unfortunate. This card has no shield on it, but since I'm in cover, I can decide to reveal another card, and this one has 2 shields. So I am ignoring the damage.
And the last thing I'm going to play is another bonus action. It just gives me 3 speed, which lets me add it up to 6 speed. Yes. And now I'm going to move. And I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, spend a movement point to open the door. And that would be 4, and then 5, 6.
And now I get to summon stuff, if I remember correctly.
For the tutorial mission, yes.
But since we didn't look it up, we'll just be playing to explain to you how summoning works. Now you can see there's these.
That's why I opened the door with the first dude.
There's these portal tokens on the board, and if that is actually different for scenario to scenario. You will activate these portals and then decide what to summon there as the invader. For that, you have a handy little card that will give you options, specifically 2 options per type of portal. So for the blue portal, I may now decide if I want to spawn 3 imps there or 2 possessed soldiers. For the yellow portal, I get to decide 2 imps or 2 Kako demons, or 1 possessed soldier and 1 pinky. I think I want to have 2 possessed soldiers, which are not here anymore because someone forgot to put up.
They're here because I thought, well, you maybe go for the other option. They're in the box. I'm sorry.
Which would be 3 imps, which are also not here.
I maybe thought I would have shot them before.
No, you had forgotten how this works.
It was 10 a.m. It was way too early.
Well. So
it was noon.
Now you know there's a bunch of minis in here. If you, however, run out of guys, you have to live with that. And then I want to have, I think, another possessed soldier and Pinky.
Pinky is here.
Yeah, I'm looking for the possessed soldier. The ones that you did not prepare.
They're here.
As you can see.
They're here.
Yes, and I need a third one.
Wow, German. Oh.
Okay. So for one token after the other, usually you discard these once you use them up. So I'll remove them, move 1 guy here. And the other there, they just have to go next to the portal. And for the yellow one, I get, it's actually 2 pinkies. So I'll remove this here, and there I might spawn these guys here. Now, since I have introduced a new type of monster to the game, I reveal my pinky card. And I get to now add in another invader card to the deck, because now I have an additional group of monsters that might be summoned, which also enhances my chances to be or have the next turn. Sorry for rambling, but that was a mouthful of monster. So your turn has ended.
Yes.
You draw up to your maximum hand size.
I did.
And now
I'm totally prepared.
We reveal, it is the invader. Now I have to decide what I want to activate. So I have to commit to one of these 3 groups here. And since I am mildly displeased with Red attacking my imp and killing him so effortlessly, I will activate the Pinkies. Each monster group can only be activated once, and then I'll just go through and activate every mini of that group. So the Pinky has a speed of 5, but only a range of 1 because he's a close combat guy. As in the video game.
He wants to cuddle.
Also, he has a special ability called Ball Rush. Before rolling any dice for an attack, if the defender was not adjacent, you get one red die. So at the beginning of my activation, which is now, there's no defender next to me, so I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I like being also in cover here behind those walls, and attack red. I get an additional red die, so I have 2 red and 1 black die. And the attack here, works similar to how Sarah's does. So she will reveal one of her cards. But before that happens, I want to play... the modify thing happens after you draw. So you draw first 2 shields. So this would be an entirely worthless roll with that. However, I can play one of my cards. So in this case, I've been playing Demonic Precision. Play this card while a demon is attacking. Re-roll any number of dice. Since they're all pretty much terrible, I want to re-roll all 3 of them. And now I have 4 hits, which means Sarah takes 2 damage. Each Marine has 10 points of life, and the way for me to win usually, or for the invader to win, usually revolves around killing the Marine 6 times. You get a frag token for each of them, and once you collect 6 of them, you have 1, and you obviously have to do that before the Marines do their job.
Yeah, but I do have a reaction card on hand, which is armor. Which is would I draw it from the deck? It would give me 3 shield.
Yes, the reaction cards are the third type of card that you can find in the Marine deck, which always will be played in reaction to something happening, in most cases in reaction to an attack happening.
But since I have it on my hand and not on the deck, the text will only activate, which says, while defending, you may play this card to add 2 shield, then draw 1 action card. So I'm not getting any damage, I draw a new card.
Yes. On we go with the second pinky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going here, and we're doing the same thing again.
It's a party!
And I'm really terrible with rolling dice.
And I have a shield, so I just take 1 damage.
Yes.
For the red dude.
And that's it for the pinkies now. And we go on, and now it is Sarah's turn again. But since she already activated red, she now has to activate one of other guys.
I'm gonna go with blue. Blue wants to play up close and personal, main action, 4 speed, 3 range, and 2 black dice and 1 red one. And it says on the text, after you perform this attack, you may roll 1 red die and choose 1 figure adjacent to the defender's space that figure suffers 1 damage. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want to attack him.
And then adjacent, by the way, is everything around the mini. So also diagonal would count as adjacent.
So it's 2 black, 1 red. You wish me luck. And it is 5 damage.
And now we come to, and wasn't prepared, but this is a really, really lucky setup.
I don't like you anymore.
The invader has a special type of icon, which is this triple horn, whatever thing, almost like a trident. That means you activate the special ability of the demon, which is printed on its card down here. So the pinky special is he will get 3 shields, which means he just gets 2 damage.
While attacking a figure within 2 spaces, you may change 1 die to any face. So I could change this one here to a 3 damage, right?
Yes.
So that would be 5, 7.
So he's now taking 4 damage instead. Which
I have to exhaust this.
Which is close to getting him to staggered, which I'll talk about in a minute after you get your second attack out, because the other guy is adjacent.
Yeah.
So roll 1 red die.
Is it red or?
Yes.
Yeah. red die.
So the card specifically now says
1 damage.
suffer damage, and suffering damage means you're not defending against it. You just get 1 point of damage. Now the other term I used there was staggering. Each of my demons has a second health value printed under his proper health value. So for the Pinky, this is 6. That means if any mini has taken that much damage, so if she would have been able to get 6 damage into the Pinky, he would be officially staggered. A staggered enemy can be instantly killed in a so-called glory kill if one of the Marines moves into his space. Moving into or through a monster space takes an additional movement point, so what she would have needed to do is to get him up to 6 damage and then spend 2 movement points to move from here into there. But, as I said, that would instantly kill the Pinky. I don't even get to roll anything, and afterwards you get to draw as the Marine one of these glory kill cards, which first off heal you for 2, which is already pretty good, and then gives you usually some special effect that you can play whenever you want. In this case, it's while attacking you may discard a card to reroll dice and stuff similar to that.
I'm done. I cannot do anything more with Bravo.
Okay.
So let's see if Charlie's up.
And then it's Sarah's move again. I think you by now probably have gotten most out of how this plays. This is a typical you get up close and personal and shoot them in the blunderfuts kind of game. There's some items on the board like health packs, which you can use as the Marine to regenerate health. Demons, not so lucky. As well as weapons, and if you pick those up, you get to...
it's there. I already put that one out.
If you pick weapons up, you find the corresponding weapon cards, and if you're playing by the regular rules, you would put them, you would shuffle them, put them on top of your deck, so you will actually use them next up, which is again similar to the video game, and to some extent, where depending on how you set it up, you might already equipped the weapon you just ran over. In this variant, you would actually put them onto your discard pile because you will go through that cards pile very quickly. I hope this isn't too confusing to you when we're talking about regular rules and the variant, but there's a good reason for that, and we'll get to that in a second. But that's pretty much it. You set up your scenario, you define who is to win how. While the invader has usually the same, or I think always the same win conditions, which would be gain 6 frag tokens. The thing that is different for the invader is usually, first of all, what types of demons he can summon with these cards, and also the scenario itself, which comes with in these 6 different types of setups with these 3 different types of spawn modifiers, which determine not only how everybody's winning, but also how your portals are used. In 2 of those modes, for example, the invader has a finite amount of demons that he can bring to the board, so you have to be a little bit more clever about how you want to do that. There's the 3rd type has an theoretically infinite amount of demons you can bring to the board, where you don't discard the portals but just flip them over, and you have to spend tokens to activate them. And I don't want to go too deep to that, but just so you have a feel for that. I think it's fair to say that the major point of this is you have a fair battle between demons and Marines. This isn't like, well, in this mission, this group should probably win, or in that mission, that group should win. It's not a
campaign.
As I said, it's not like a campaign, and even though I think games like Imperial are, they aim to be balanced, they are usually, at least it didn't feel to us that they're balanced. This should be hopefully fairly balanced per mission, at least. That's what it would be necessary for the game to be fun.
Yeah. Shall we hop into the likes and dislikes?
Yeah, I think you got a pretty good idea how this works. There's more map tiles in here. The game itself comes with a Fantasy Flight trifecta of manuals, in this case with actually pretty cool artwork, or I can hold it up here. You
should go for this camera now.
So you have the Learn to Play, which is actually this tutorial and gives you some basic rules. You have the Operation Guide, which comes with map setups, and as I said, these are very simple, so they just... trying to hold it. So each page has one map setup, has some fluff text and some recommended cards you want to put into your deck, but nothing else. There's a blurb for whoever wins gets to read the text, and the third would be the rules reference, which is the typical Fantasy Flight rule reference of let's put everything alphabetically into one book.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So let's hop officially into likes and dislikes. Honey, just to not be all over the place, I would like to know if we want to discuss the rule changes and the things in the experiences, or do we want to add it in this section? I don't want to be all over the place because I think it's a very important point. So I just want to have it in one section.
I think we can do it in this because that's strongly tied to my dislike and dislike. I just want to throw out there before I forget it, because I'm always really bad with this. Doom was designed by Jonathan Ying and is for 2 to 5 players and goes from 2 to 3 hours. Obviously, the smaller games might be a little bit faster, but I think that's a pretty good,
pretty accurate for 14 years and up. Yes. So I'm gonna start then. I'm assuming this is gonna be the longest section of the video because we have a lot of things to say. So for one, first, I haven't played Doom the video game. I just, after we played the board game, have watched a short documentary about Doom the video game. So I went into playing this game. Aside from you having the figurine in our living room, which scares my mom a tiny bit, I'm not really attached. So I didn't go in comparing it to the video game. However, I compared it to Descent and Imperial and Mansions because these are similarly looking board games from the same publisher and same modular setup, so I compared it there. And I would agree, this is pretty much the skirmish mode Imperial Assault, what you're playing here. There's no story, and you don't need a story. Sometimes you just need to be aggressive and shoot somebody, at least if it's a demon. Just saying. So, when we unboxed this game, I was a bit sad and disappointed. This time around, I think it's due to shipping and the super cold temperatures outside, but the minis were pretty brittle, so we had a lot of breaking on the fingers of the imps and stuff, which was kind of, what? We never had that with Fantasy Flight games. What's wrong? Yeah. Did they change up production, or was it really a shipping company not handling the shipment as they should, and maybe the cold temperatures and the box being really cramped, blah, blah, blah. I think it's that. So we were able to repair, but...
One of the... what was it? One, I think, Barons of Hells lost their head, so that's even not a small thing that got lost. So maybe we're just unlucky that we had a...
Also, this time around, the cardstock was peeling way earlier than it did before. These tokens, these Argon tokens, tend to lose. I don't know if they changed up production or if we were just unlucky and had a box that was produced on a Monday or something. I'm just putting it out there. It's the first time that I ever saw that. But we can repair, so we're good. We're good about that. Also,
a demon with a lost finger actually does fit the theme of the game. So, I think since I'll end up painting those as well. I can work that in, and that isn't too annoying. But still, I mean,
it's a bit. Oh,
it's also still quite an expensive game, so you're a little bit annoyed.
Or just sad because we also had some dents on the box. That's why I assume it was not handled well while shipping, and not Fantasy Flight necessarily changing up their production for the plastic being brittle and stuff. Anyway. I'm just saying, I recognize that, I saw that, I'm gonna have an eye out for future games of Fantasy Flight if we have something like that again, or if it's just bad luck,
Let's get to the game.
Let's get to the game. So, looking at the game, it's very cool. It reminds me, again, I'm not with the video game, and if I offend anybody, I'm very sorry, but that's my opinion.
It's metal as fuck.
Oh, and that's the camera. Let's change that. So if I offend anybody, I'm very sorry. Batteries changed on both the devices, but I think that's where I left off before talking. So the artwork of the Marines actually reminded me of the Power Rangers, but they are way cooler because they have adult weapons like shotguns and chainsaws and everything.
Just like Power Rangers.
I'm sorry. Really? No.
Go Power Rangers.
I'm sorry if I offended anybody. But this is what they look like to me. And it made me giggle pretty hard. I like the demons, how they look. This one here, for example,
is not a furry.
No, he reminds me of a ball of yarn when you're knitting. So I call him Wollknäuel or furball in this case. I know fur is not yarn, but anyway. And the
poor Cacao Demon.
Yeah, I call him Cacao Demon because, I'm just weird like that. I make things up and I don't have any reference from the video game. So yeah, anyway, it's funny. I think the artwork and the names and everything, it plays to my weirdness, to my sense of humor for, let's change things up slightly, or let's associate them with something, and then, it's funny for me. So this game is funny. Gameplay itself, it's very easy to learn and to pick up things if you played any of the other games that I said I would compare this to, so Imperial or Mansions and stuff like that. So movement and the way combat works is very simple. I like the change. Very heavily comparing this to Imperial Assault skirmish mode here. I like the change with the combat, so not both parties rolling dice, but one party going through the deck and just having a shield or maybe 3 or a dodge symbol or whatever, and have the luck factor kind of done this way and not with a rolling dice, which I just like. Well, we had some fortunate defenders die rolling for the rebels in Imperial, and it was kind of bad for the person who played, who played the Empire. So I like that we don't have to deal with that kind of luck in this game, but it's more, you just go through your card deck and you have one dodge card in there, and if you're already drawn it, well, then you're probably gonna take damage, so deal with it. I just like that a lot. Also, I like a lot that they have a deck of cards to determine whose turn it is, in comparison to other games of this kind where you have one rebel, one Empire troop, another rebel, another Empire troop, and things change up in the order depending on what unit you want to play, what's maybe best to play. You get a card here and it says it's Delta, and if Delta is not able to do anything, well, then he can dance and move along. So it's just for the Marines, if you play with a full set of players, it's just, this is when your turn is, and it's by shuffling them every round, you change things up, and you could maybe have the lucky draw and draw the color you need when you need it, so that you can blast a demon out of the sky. But it's not necessarily that way, and it balances the chance for the invader to deal some real damage before that one chainsaw super duper hit with the staggering works, because the weapons that you can pick up here, the ones with those stripy lines, they're really, really powerful. And once you are able to pick one of those up as a Marine, you can do, excuse my French, a shitload of damage. So by having the invader maybe have up to 4 turns or 5 turns before that and have at least some chance to do some damage, I like that a lot, that it's handled by a deck instead of the players deciding when one of which party is going to play. So that was a lovely one. You're going to go in the details with us changing the rules. I'm just going to say I would recommend to play with the changed up rules. So if you've never played Doom before, I would recommend you would go to the Board Game Geek forum, and maybe Daniel can send me the link before editing, and it's gonna be in the description box to the exact blog post.
There's a couple of variants, but one specifically is
from Jonathan, and I really like that. If you can send me that link, I'm gonna have it in the description box below. I would recommend you go there and try that one of those variants suggested by Jonathan before you judge the game. And maybe if you buy this later and there is a new version with an errata and everything out there, that would be helpful too. But for now, I would strongly recommend you go with the things that Jonathan does suggest there. And I like the things that he wrote up in the forum, and that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm going to leave that stuff to you and I'm done.
Okay.
This is all the information dump.
So I'm picking up on the on the negative there, and just sticking with it. By now I have the strong feeling that almost all of these games by Fantasy Flight have a severe balancing issue unless you're playing with a full complement of players, meaning that if you're not playing here with 4 players playing the Marine and 1 player playing the Invader, it seems to be difficult to nail down the balancing to be fair. Now, in a game like Imperial Assault, at least to us, that wasn't too crushing, because sometimes it feels like, okay, the Empire is just really good at this mission and the Rebels are really good at that mission, and it wasn't like an overwhelming thing here. Here, if you're not playing with 4 players playing individual Marines, but using to explain to you, if you're just playing with regular rules, you get one of these cards that give you additional bonuses based on how many players you have. So if you're technically, if you're just playing a 2-player game like we just did, Sarah would only have 1 Marine, but that Marine would activate twice and then get 2 main actions per activation. Which still sounds like, hey, it's as much as you get with playing 4 Marines, but being able to play 2 main actions at the same time itself is already really, really powerful, because you have to keep in mind, if you draw your cards from your stack and you draw 3 main actions, that means you can only play 1 card regularly. If you now have 2 main actions, you get to play 2 of those cards, and obviously those are really strong. So if you're really lucky, you get 2 main actions and a bonus action, you can immediately wreck everything on the board. And that is actually what also happened the first time we played this.
No, don't go into that already.
And but going in knowing that there's already, well, if you check Board Game Geek, there are already people who said, oh, this doesn't seem really balanced, and the regular rules don't seem to be balanced, and it's a shame, but I think it can happen. However, I think this game really shines if you're playing 1 versus 4, or at least 1 versus 3 in that case. Which also means that pretty much for us, for any game that Fantasy Flight puts out that has these skirmish tactical combat things going on, I think whatever the rules say, we will always try it with playing all the 4 characters. Now, that being said, and I'm sorry for already going into comparison mode, while this isn't really viable in games like Descent or Imperial Assault, because you have these specialized characters, they learn skills, and you have to do a lot of management because you carry over your abilities and your weapons from one game to another. This doesn't happen in this game. This is a really quick and in that regard and very streamlined. So you can still pretty comfortably play 4 Marines without being overwhelmed by decisions. However, the variant Sarah talked about and we just showed you, where you use just one single card deck per Marine, is kind of another streamlining to the effect of you don't have 4 different card stacks. However, again, just having one pool of cards is still sometimes helpful, but also sometimes a detriment. So that version leans a little bit more to the Invader, just because if you pick up weapons or do get too many cards into your deck, you dilute some of the better cards. Like there's only one dodge card, for example, in any Marine deck, because that's one of the 4 base cards you always have in there. But if you pick up too many weapons, your chances to get to that dodge cards are very slim on a draw. And you might also end up with a lot of cards in hand that, let's say, let you do a lot of damage but don't give you a lot of movement points. So,
or just main actions, no bonus actions, and then you just can do one thing.
Yes.
So
there's...
Be prepared.
Both have ups and downs, and I think if you know what you're getting into, this is still manageable and fine. So we still enjoyed the 1 versus 1 play using that modified variant the most, I would say, although this is still far excelled by having a 1 versus 4 game. So that's what you probably want to do. You want to have five people playing this together, or at least 1 against 4. That being said, enough of the negative Nilly stuff I really like. Same as Sarah, I very much like the initiative randomization aspect of this, that you don't know whose turn it is, or that you activate one after the other, and that actually makes it exciting every time the card is flipped over. Sometimes frustrating, but usually exciting. It also brings in some interesting strategic thinking there, because you as the invader will then sometimes bring in weaker demons just to have another demon group in there, just to get another of your initiative cards into the deck to give you more control, hopefully, or give you a better chance at being to pick first who goes. And there are some, like the imps are not really good.
They're cannon fodder.
I don't want to say they're terribly useless, but actually I found while playing them, while they might get the odd hit in there, their main purpose somehow for me was always to get the invader card into the deck to maybe get one of my stronger demons to activate.
Yeah,
first.
or put other more stronger figures into cover. Yes. So they're just cannon fodder, pretty much.
The artwork is pretty much taken right from the video game, and I don't know if this is concept art or if they just redrew the video game art, but it's very, very close to that. And if you like the aesthetic, you'll be perfectly fine and happy with this. Which brings us to our other big comparison, and Sarah already said she didn't play the video game. I did, and I very much like Doom, the video game. It is very fast-paced, but also has this combo shoot, stagger, move forward. And those are terms I already talked about in this game. So this actually picks up the video game and uses the mechanics from the video game to really good effect. While that might also contribute to the game feeling a little bit unfair from time to time, that the Marine can just, not really kill the demon, but just stagger them and just move into that. That is one of the things you have to consider. Also as the invader, because that means you can lure Marines out of their group and try to get them to move forward, which is also what the imps would be good for, because they die so simply, so easily. That constant be on the move, shoot fast, in addition with the card mechanics, so that you don't have to terribly spend too much time deciding what I'm going to do, which can happen in Imperial Assault and also in Descent quite often. Here it's, okay, these are the 3 cards I have on hand. I have to decide, and usually it's 1 or 2 main actions of those, so it is fairly clear what you can do this turn, and then you're done with it. It's not like, okay, I have these actions, I have these resources, how can I spend them? Which, if you're playing with players who like to overthink such things, might take the fun and the speed out of the game. Here, the mechanics really support the notion of this is a fast-paced game. This is only, again, another comparison, because it's another board game that is loosely tied to the feeling of a video game, which would be CGE's Adrenaline, which is even faster. So Adrenaline would be the Quake version, where you just respawn, run, shoot, die immediately. Here you still have to be a little bit more tactical. So this is actually, I think Doom is a really good middle ground between the really fast-paced, board gamey, just get as many kills as you can in, versus here where you still have some more mission variety and other things to consider. Positioning here is huge, so it is way more important than it would be in Adrenaline. Then again, this comes with a little bit more of fiddly bit. Even though it being streamlined, Adrenaline is really, really even faster than this. Yeah. But if you like being in control and having those tactical approaches and decisions to make, this would be the better game to go for. Even though the game says 2 to 3 hours, this still feels really fast for me. I have to say,
we played max 2 hours with the full set of players.
I have to say, I said for Descent and Mansions of Madness.
Many of Madness.
No, Manic Mansion is another video game, which
okay.
would fit, but it doesn't.
Didn't get the reference, I'm sorry.
For Descent, Road to Legend, and Mansions of Madness version 2, I really like that the app takes away so much of the setup time and speeds up the gameplay. Doom also manages to speed up gameplay, and I very much appreciate that. Multiple times during the game, I was really positively surprised how quick those turns and phases go. There's not much of housekeeping in the status phase. It's pretty much more... The thing that actually takes the longest is if you want to discard 3 cards or up to 3 cards as the invader and take Argon tokens for that. And that's it. Everything else is... You'll get into the action really quickly. I also like about this, similar to Adrenaline, that if you die as the Marine, you're not out of the game. You'll just respawn at one of those teleporters and
have another go.
Usually the map has multiple of those, so you can try to unlock more spawn possibilities. So while the invader gains a victory point for that, it's really just that. It's not that one player is entirely out of the game as it would happen with Descent or Imperial. I mean, with Descent you can revive them as well, but you're still not doing something. And here you just
need to wait until it's your turn again, and then you respawn, which is very nice. In order,
the worst you do is you gave the other player a point, and the second thing is you have to discard your card and draw new cards, and that's it. I really like that.
You don't lose any weapons you picked up or other stuff. You just discard your hand and draw a new card. That's it.
That being said, also from a gameplay perspective, I really enjoy how they manage to capture the feel of the different types of weapons of the video game in card form. So you have the shotgun, which can be comboed off with more shotgun cards to do even more damage, and you're trying to get up close and personal, and that's actually what the card is called. There's also the rocket launcher. There's tremendous amounts of damage as long as everybody's standing together, and you hope that there's not one of your buddies in there, because they technically would also take damage. There's the BFG 9000, which Sarah even hasn't seen yet, but it's pretty much like the video game. It's awesome, and it kills everything. Like,
I want to play that.
Everything.
Okay.
At the same time, the demons also have that feel to them. I mean, obviously you don't have weapon cards for them, but you have the imps that get faster the more damage they do, so they're always jumping around. Also, their special armor or defending ability is to dodge, so sometimes they can be really annoying. We had... They're not
9 damage. Dodge.
Not going ahead of ourselves, but the imps and the revenants are notorious for dodging and are frustrating for Marines to try to pin down. While the Pinky is a real, a tank, a powerhouse that needs to go up close to do some real good damage.
He's short-sighted.
But they are really, really tough to kill as well. So they all feel like in the video game. I was a little bit worried, because the thing I really like about the 2016 Doom game is the stagger, run into this. You're almost trying to look, where is my next chain? And this really nails that down with... yes, there are health packs there, but they're obviously finite, so you might, if you use them all up, they're gone. So you really have to sometimes decide, well, I only took 2 damage or 3 damage. I'm not going to take that health pack yet, because that would waste 2 or 3 points of health I can regenerate. Whereas you're kind of leaning towards, I want to stagger and get that glory kill card, not only for the bonus, but just for the healing aspect of it. Which, it is a game that has you end up doing combos, and they feel great because they make you feel like you've managed to pull that off. You managed to kind of get into that, and sometimes it's
they
cool.
feel elegant sometimes,
and sometimes you just feel great because you rolled a great roll of dice, which
doesn't happen too often in this house.
Doesn't happen too often, but when it happens, it's really good.
Yeah. Shall we rate and then talk about the funny stories experiences?
I think so, yes.
I have to ask, do we rate without the change that Jonathan gave us, or do we change with it, rate with it, or do we do both? Because it's a significant difference for me, so I have to ask before.
Yeah, I think we'll do both. Let's do without Jonathan first. Yes.
Go. Okay.
Okay, my explanation for that being, while I think all of the good stuff holds true for this game, actually, I cranked it up like this. It still holds up, but it would be limited to the 5-player game only. And
exactly, and it would not say 2 to 5; it would say 5 players on the box.
Yeah, and if I hadn't found the Board Game Geek thread beforehand, where this was already a little bit discussed, I have to say I would have been had the same disappointed feeling that I got from Mansion of Madness. If you saw a review, we were kind of. It's like, I can see greatness in this, but I see
potential.
But there's this 1 or 2 things that are really annoying, and here it would be the balancing for less.
Those cards.
Less than. You
could actually make it legendary and discard those cards out of the game, and it would be way more balanced. For anything.
Well, no, you still need to balance the
I'm going to talk about exactly those cards in the experiences a lot, but that is why I would say either make it 5 players on the box, or discard or trash those cards, or go with the variant to play this game. Otherwise, this is very, 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 very.
If I would be cynical, I would say Doom, the board game, also captured a trend of the video game industry where you release a game and then have to patch it almost day one because something happened late in development, or
something is out of your hands. It's not always the designer's fault. Sometimes it's things changing up and then they just throw everything out of hand. And I think those cards are the ones that made it unbalanced.
Nobody called out any single person, even though...
No, but I mean... It's actually quite obvious this time around that it could really destroy a designer's work when somebody else fiddles in the kitchen and says, a bit more salt here. It's like many cooks destroy the meal, that kind of saying.
I don't think that's too many cooks in the kitchen is the saying. But then again, and this is might also be spawned from that, because on those threads it was said that there were some late changes, and I think that's
the thing that didn't make it better.
If I wouldn't know that, I would be less forgiving about that. And then that being said, if you are watching this, probably you're already spending enough time on the internet and know where to find information about these games. So you're probably not the type of person who would have a problem with this, because you're kind of able to figure out a solution to that. However, if you are not, I can see this being frustrating, and
very much.
It's always annoying to say, I really recommend that but there's this caveat that...
This would be a rage-quitting game for me if I would have played the Invaders without any other information. But let's rate it quickly with I
have to say, the thing I really would like to see in the future of this would also either be an expansion that cleans up some of the rules, although I might see this not happening. This reason being that this is not only a licensed property, but this might be a one-off. I don't know what Fantasy Flight wants to do with this and how this sells. That being said, looking at how successful the app integration with Descent and Imperial isn't out yet, but that's what I want to have next.
Mansions was the other one.
Mansions and Descent has. I can see this really benefiting from an app version as well and going full co-op, and that would also be able there to rework the rules and to take care of that, which I think would be amazing. And might also open up the game randomizing a little bit more, because that's also, it's not really sad, but it's unfortunate. But there's a really finite amount of maps in here, and while you can try to create your own, you would have to put in the work and figure out how to make them balanced as well. And with an app version, you could at least have some modular approach to that, or randomize a little bit, or
they could bring new maps as an add-on or something.
Yeah, have more variety to that. And I mean, if they already have resources in-house spending their time doing that for Descent and for Mansions and
Imperial,
apparently Imperial, I would say this might be a really good. I don't know what the cost would be for that, but that's something I would like to see.
Yeah. Shall we rate with Jonathan's?
There's multiple variants. We just picked out the one by Jonathan because that was also the one that resonated with us best. So with that,
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So no surprise, this is better than the other one. Which
it is what I would have wanted to see from the game.
Specifically the version where, and this is only for one, really valid for the 1 versus 1 play, where you have the Marine player using 1 deck, 3 starting weapons, and the possibility to decide which Marine to activate. That was the the stuff that felt most balanced to us, where it was at least very close up to the end, and it could have gone either way, kind of depending on what cards you draw and what dice
and rolling
you roll.
dice. The Wheaton's disease was way stronger in that. But let's transition into funny stories and experiences. The Wheaton's disease was very strong when it was impacting the gameplay when we were playing either one-on-one with the setup that we showed you here, or if we played with a full set of players. So then those dice rolls are way more important. We played this game 5 times by now, and we went through the different missions. I have to say that we were informed about the tutorial mission being very unbalanced, so we knew things going in. We were not surprised. Still, it felt so. We played the tutorial mission, one Marine, and Daniel was playing the demons. And I had this one card here, the one Marine card, Solo Operative card, and which gives me one more card hand size. I have 5 more health, and I can do 2 main actions.
So and
I get 2 activations, so that's 4 main actions there.
And if you're lucky, you get all 4 in the first 2 turns, and then everybody's dead.
Yeah, it wasn't even me being super lucky with drawing, but it was the same thing with 2 Marines and 3 Marines. Playing these cards make the game absolutely unbalanced. The thing that I found was most the most unbalancing thing was you have 2 main actions once you activate. So you could change things up there when you say, oh, we're 2 players playing Marines and we have an invader. Fine, play the 2 Marines card, get the health and the extra hand size, but don't have 2 main actions in one roll. This was so overpowering, and I felt so bad for you in all of the games that you played the demon and we had one of these cards active. He was pushing plastic. He didn't really have a chance there, and that's not fun.
I think there's actually 3 things at work where I think also the biggest offender are these power-up cards, so to speak, if you're playing with less players. Specifically for the tutorial and the first mission, that is also what adds on to that is that the first mission has the chainsaw on the board, which is a close combat weapon that very much favors killing people by staggering them. And also you are recommended to use this first strike card, which has you, the majority of your guys that you will bring out are imps, or at least low health types of guys. So that particular combination, you have a Marine that gets really a ton of activation, and more specifically gets a ton of movement points, because that'll be important in a second, in conjunction with a card that lets you lower the stagger value of an enemy that already has a really low stagger value. So if the imps are staggered with even 1 hit of damage, if you lower that, you can just walk through them. So meaning you have a Marine that has a ton of movement and just walks through all the enemies without even having to roll a die. Also, and that is kind of the 4th thing that is specific to the first map setup, the bad guy spawns minions as doors are open, similar to this tutorial mission, which means that if the Marine player is not suicidal, he can just clean a room and then
open a door and
get set up, maybe pick up a health pack if he missed one, and then go into the next room, rinse and repeat.
Because demons cannot open doors.
Well, at least not in that
scenario.
Thing,
and another thing, you saying you can just run through them. Each Marine has a main mission. A main action on their card that says sprint. You discard 1 card and get 6 movement points. And now combine that with the chainsaw and the imps.
Well, you cannot combine that with the chainsaw.
No. I mean, there's cards in the chainsaw comes with a bonus action card there that just lets you not attack but just increase the stagger value and then go with the imps. You can just walk.
That was the main action. But
no, I think it was a bonus action because we had a lot of shit.
Obviously, that someone found that out as well because you're not allowed to use your sprint action as one of your two main actions if you're using these power-up cards.
Yeah. Because that would be wow.
So you can only do that. However, if you're lucky enough to have the first two cards here, and obviously you cannot plan for that, but you could effectively just nick every demon and give them a little bit of damage, and then on your next activation to just sprint through them. That would still work. Yes, you have to pay an additional movement point moving into a demon's space, but the maps are not terribly big, and that's kind of the fifth point, specifically for the first mission. We haven't set it up here, but trust me on that. You have a relatively small rooms, space. And the imps are good at range with where they need to hide and run away, and there's you're really fish in a barrel, or in this case, imp in a barrel.
Yeah. But once we had, I think it was the third game. Yeah, it was the third game that. So first game was this one, him and I. Second game we played with Tina, so 2 Marines, and the first mission, him again being the bad guys, and he was really just fish out of water. And the third game that we played with this kind of scenario here. But we had, I controlled all the 4 Marines, but I had to play the Marine whose card came up. So I couldn't just say, okay, I'm activating a Marine and I choose what color I want to play. I had to play the one where the card came up. And that was, for one, a very different feeling because the map was bigger. I had to control 4 Marines. Wheaton's disease did happen. And you had a fighting chance, and in the end, he actually won. It wasn't like by a big margin, but it felt like a game, and you not just being the app, him not just pushing the minis and being the target for me and my sparring partner, but he was a real enemy there on the board. You had a goal and you had a fighting chance, and in the end it went, and it felt so different, and that is what I wanted the game to feel like. So I was very very happy with the third game that we ever played.
I'm now excluding the first scenario that's in here, but what I also noticed, or what the game really makes you feel like you're super powerful, regardless if you're a Marine or a demon from time to time. Obviously not with the imps, but as soon as you bring out guys like the Revenant or the Baron of Hell, not even talking about the cyber demon, both sides have their moments of, wow, this is unstoppable.
I'm steamrolling. Yeah, I'm steamrolling. I'm gonna
going
get to that.
through and killing everything. I really like that both sides get to feel that, and still it's not kind of, oh, I lost now because I just saw going through.
Yeah. The fourth game we played with 3 players, and you again being the Master of Hell, and we played with the Marine card. The one for 3 Marines says that you have to alternate, so not one Marine keeps the card every time, but you have to rotate through all the other Marines and they get the card, which would again let them. You don't get extra health or extra hand cards, but you can perform 2 main actions, and still it was so powerful. And that is actually the game where I realized, okay, the crucial thing that makes things unbalanced is that you can have 2 main actions. But there again, he was the demon controller, and well, the Marines won. But the fifth game was the 2 of us playing, and we switched roles. That was Valentine's Day. No, we don't celebrate Valentine's. We love each other every day.
If you're together long enough, your relationship will become hell on earth, or in this case, on Mars.
Mm-hmm. So he played the Marines, and he played it with, you can activate whatever Marine you want once you have a Marine card being activated. So I played the demons for the first time. And I have to say, I had quite the trouble. Again, like I do with so many games, I cannot see how far ahead I actually am, or if I have a fighting chance. And there, the mission was, he had to defend and I had to attack. And I actually wanted to defend for once, because, well, I had to attack with Marines all the time, so it was more of the same. But he had to survive 6 rounds, and I had to get 6 frag tokens. And I could get them in 2 different ways. For one, killing one of his Marines, or getting one of those objective tokens.
It was
here.
A timed area control mission where you
this kind of
these are generic
tokens.
And in that mission type, you have the survive 6 rounds and defend 3 of those spots, and if she would take one, she gets a free frag token for that.
So the first 3 rounds, I didn't see any land out there. I was like, I did spawn something, and I learned from his spawning. So it was like, I didn't spawn the big dudes, but I spawned quantity, so that he would just be overwhelmed with quantity. And I thought, well, yeah, you only get 1 main action, so you can only maybe attack 1 or 2 minis per Marine, and I had like 10 on the floor, so I thought I'd had a fighting chance. Nope. The first 3 rounds, I didn't see that I was leaving 1 mini behind. He was still alive, and then I would spawn 5 again, and then at round 5, I would have enough there to actually overflow him and have a chance. In 1 round, I got like 3 or 4 frag tokens, but I didn't see it, and I was so frustrated. It was like, and I was doing the thing that I don't like when he's doing it. It's like, you're going to win, and I'm gonna sulk, and I'm gonna sit here with the face the whole game until I, you know.
I have
great, Sarah.
I have to say this plays quite different from how I would, or how I play Imperial Assault or Descent in terms of targeting priority. If you're the bad guy, you really have to focus down Marines individually. There's no like, I'm spreading left and right and doing that. Actually, the same is true for the Marines. Mm-hmm. There are some enemies, if they're on the board, Revenant.
You want to attack them first.
That you really have to prioritize getting rid of, and no matter the cost. And that is actually the thing that when I said I like that if you die here, you respawn, obviously for the Marines only. But that is a pretty good call, because the invader, to have a chance, has to really go in and pick up or pick down individual Marines 1 by 1. And while that would feel super unfair and annoying, I mean, I realize that's how you can play Imperial Assault, but it's usually it's really annoying if you just keep on picking on the same guy and
over and
then
over again.
He or she is out of the game, or it's just looking at that. Here, this is not only encouraged, but it's also kind of mitigated by you being back into the game, so you can kill one and then you focus on the next one, or do something like that.
And in that game, actually, one thing happened. So the last game, something happened that was kind of limiting in another way. Once you don't have the minis anymore, and you still have the portals, and you want to spawn a certain kind, you can only have so many minis on the board. If there is no Reverend anymore, And yes, I know they are called Revenant, but I call them Reverend just because,
Spreading the good word of missiles and...
I couldn't spawn anymore because I had a few almost dying on the board, and he didn't kill them. He killed the other ones, and well, then I had to spawn the imps. So I was like, nah. So there's a limitation there as well. Even if you are building up your forest and you're getting ready to steamroll, you're maybe kind of limited there just by how many minis are available. So that was a lot of fun, but
so
also quite exhausting and emotionally straining.
Here we just show the rest of the minis. Here we have the very happy Revenant, as happy as they are in the video game.
Don't judge him.
Our little Barons of Hell. Mr. Mancubus. And I think that's it.
Yeah, and that's the Cyber Bunny, right?
Yes, that's Cyber Bunny.
So, I think that's all the funny stories and experiences that I remember.
Yeah, and I think this... I think you can now relate time of our videos directly to the amount of little tokens in the game. So the more tokens the game has, the longer the video goes.
But the longest video we ever had was for Love Letter. But that it was because it was a celebratory.
And a full game.
Yeah. So let's wrap up this video and finish off with a little tiny teaser. Are you ready to guess?
Okay.
So next Wednesday, there is the 40th episode of Draw for Initiative. So we're having something special planned for you when it comes to technique and stuff and things. But the game that we are going to paint is actually quite close to Doom.
It's Doom.
From the fear. No, it's not.
Adrenaline.
No. Hold on. I thought about how to tease it. So.
Okay.
You could go berserk. Sometimes the feeling and the conversation is a bit frosty at the table, and well, red is a lovely color, don't you think?
Catacombs.
No, but I want to play that game. No.
Descent.
No. It's a bit frosty.
So in space,
Berserk.
Imperial Assault.
How much? We already... I'm only gonna yell at you in German. No, we already painted Imperial.
Dead of Winter. It's cold and it's red and bloody and...
No, it's still on the list. I said you might go berserk. Come on! Marvel! Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You're going berserk soon.
Berserk. Bersoonish.
Legendary Marvel.
No, we also painted that already. Oh, come on! I might be a little bit unhappy with you. I might be... My pulse is... blood pressure is rising.
I don't know. Maybe your hints were too low-key for me to understand. Thor, you might have another hint that...
The red fluids are maybe boiling if you're not guessing right.
The
chili soup, of course.
I can't see it.
I love him.
Like...
I know. He got it.
The Heimdall. Right. Anyway.
Did you get it? If not, wait for Wednesday. We're going to share with you. If you have a guess, you can leave it in the comments below.
And if that infuriated you and got your blood pumping, you can leave out your rage somewhere else. Or in the comment section. Actually, leave it in the comment section.
Yeah.
Sarah will read that and then despair and then curse you and then maybe answer. Not necessarily in that order. No?
No, you know me so well. I'm impressed. I'm really. But he just forgot one step. I let him read the comment too. I send it to him a screenshot and say, "World is awful." Anyway, let's wrap up this video. I have a feeling this is going to be a shitload of data that I have to edit.
Yep.
So happy Sunday to you. I think sometimes I want to call Sunday Doomsday just because you're playing Doom. Anyway, we're not going to play Doom this Sunday.
It's not Ragnarok yet.
No, it's not. But we are going to be back next week with a new game, so stay tuned for that. If you want to watch us ramble and show you games from our collection until the next video comes out, well, just hop on over to the playlist. We got quite a couple of videos there for you to see. Like this video, so give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you want to share this video with somebody who thinks who you think should see it, well, do that. We would love it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you as a new member in the board game and also artwork community. So stay here. You're most welcome. Here's your coffee. Ta-da! And have a lovely day. Do all the good things. Maybe you got time to play some games. Or paint something. Or do some other cool shit.
Or get telefragged. Which is actually a mechanic in the game I didn't explain.
I forgot. Yeah, it was
but
like,
it's...
television?
No.
Oops.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, I'm gonna
Goodbye. In a blaze of gory.
Yeah, he didn't like my singing on Instagram when I killed him, and he went down in a blaze of gory, and I saved this pun for more than a week, and then I could finally write it, and he was not happy. He was not happy. But the Instagrammers liked it.
See you next week.
See ya. Have fun.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.